Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more information I received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking of my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session. And when I refer to me, I'm referring to myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th. And the section we start with is what I call nature of reality. I like to understand how things work in this playground we have created. And I am going to be talking about this author, this book. The author's name is Hawkins. I forget what his first name is, but it's pretty famous. He's the guy who came up with you might have seen it. It's like it's like a cone that shows, I think it goes this way, might even be this way. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I've seen it even like as a pillar, but basically it's a scale that shows different degrees of consciousness. So you might have anger or hate or judgment or whatever it is. It goes into neutrality at some point, and it goes all the way up to enlightenment. And it's a scale that goes from 0 to 1,000. So this is what I wanted to talk about with the 25th, because this guy in this book is called Power versus Force. He basically says this is how it works, and you can measure anything that we come into contact with inside the scale or with the scale. And he's referring to muscle testing. He's using that as a measuring tool. And Lorrayne and I have used muscle testing, and she's been using it for a long time, and she uses it very differently. And I had, after reading the book, I loved it. I think it's a super interesting book, but I had some questions of my own. So here we go. Lorrayne. Okay, the author of the book, Power versus Force, is he from the light? Me. He is in the middle. He has had, or he talks about having had, an enlightening experience, life experience. He talks about remaining in that state actually for long periods of time. Basically always, he says, always since having that experience. However, his experience, as you know, as high level or high consciousness as it has been for him, or as powerful as it has been for him in terms of causing an awakening to realities that he wasn't necessarily focusing on before, is still limited in the sense of, and we don't mean to sound judgmental, this is how we judge things at this level on planet Earth, is how we think of things here. It's limited as in, he's still not allowing himself to know all, which is perfectly acceptable. His higher self is working on a certain life experience. This person has helped many with what he has discovered. Therefore, it is all wonderful. And at the same time, because of this limited acceptance or limited opening to what is possible, he could have connected to the 25th. Again, at the time, we had not decided that, and we say at the time to explain the concept. You all know there is no time. Everything is happening right now. But we had not yet decided that we would allow, or we wanted the information about the 25th to be distributed within, or to be available at a conscious level within the matrix. So this information was not available. However, he only allowed himself to know certain things because it was after a certain experience. And therefore, which is the gist of this question and what is coming up next, is that his methodology, we've spoken about this the last time, muscle testing is just like every other divination methodology in that it is subject to the self-imposed limitations of the person using it, what we call a filtering system. Therefore, his muscle testing practice by default is going to be limited. It can only encompass what he believes is possible. And therefore, because we know that this is the question that Claire wanted to know about, it's like, what is going on with this system where apparently humanity can only go up, and it's even rare for humans to be up at 600, at a 600 level of consciousness on a scale. But ideally, technically, scale goes all the way up to 1,000. But of course, no one on Earth will even reach 1,000, not even close. And Claire has seen even other people measuring, for example, with scalar energy, measuring the consciousness of people, and they have been able to go up past 600. Not only you, Lorrayne, have measured your consciousness, and you go well beyond 600. And again, what does that mean? What does the scale even mean? The scale is nothing. We already said we're all one. We are source. I am source. You are source. The author is source. And they were laughing. What does it mean all of a sudden we have a scale, but we limit ourselves? Do you see what we're referring to when we say he's matching his experience? He's keeping his experience contained within his expectations of reality, which is we are separate. Some of us, very few of us, some select or elect few, manage somehow to go up to this very high level of consciousness, which again is 600. So barely half of what is even possible in his mind. They were laughing. And that's it. This is the way it is. This works if you want to explain reality in a 3D way. This absolutely works. Not only many people have taken these concepts and used them, just like you have, Lorrayne, to apply to higher consciousness concepts or to things outside of the realm that he had started. He's very humble about that. He says, this is just a stepping stone. We hope that more people or more areas of science and medicine will use this, and therapy will use this. Absolutely, it's all good. He means well, and he's done a lot of good, what we consider good here. This is absolutely no judgment on his methodology or him or his experience. We all play a role, and he's playing a very positive role in many ways. He's given the tools to many people, for many people like you, to use, to explore something new of their consciousness. But at the end of the day, in regards to the question that's coming up about his scale of consciousness, this is really just his way of looking at the world, which is completely and perfectly acceptable. But we are past that. We are here. We're chatting with the 25th dimension. There's limitations. We're aware these are self-imposed limitations. We have no limitations. We are one. Even the fact that he's looking at people like they're someone else, there is not anyone else. And they were laughing. And again, these are concepts that are then introduced after. We did not allow ourselves to know this before. We've decided to bring this information in. And therefore, he's done within a matrix system, he's brought forth a lot of wonderful knowledge, and we are truly very grateful for it. But yes, absolutely. This is the reason why there are what we, from our perspective now, consider limitations based on what we know, based on all the chats we've had with the 25th dimension, based on this new knowledge that, as you well know, is very different from what has been brought forth before this knowledge was available. So he's very much repeating in his own creative, original way, but he's very much repeating the same beliefs we all have wanted to espouse in this reality. Again, we are separate. We are lowly. They were laughing. Our consciousness level is 200, 150, whatever that might be. Now, doesn't mean we don't have systems or we don't have people that have very low vibration. We know this. We see this. But again, we are everything. Each one of us is capable of everything. Not only we're capable of going off the scale, and he was laughing, and they were laughing. This scale that is meant to limit us or to tell us who we are is obviously, as you can imagine, very limiting. And it's not real. It's not really how reality works. Lorrayne. Thank you. All right. Clea has a question in here about Mother Teresa and the author of Power versus Force, believing she's an enlightened being. And the gist of her question is why is answers or information different from those of the 25th? Me. Yes, we already said, first of all, this information was not available. The information we have been sharing with you over the past several months was not available, and we did not want it to be available. It's not just that people didn't have the ability to connect. Many people do connect. We know the higher self is always in the 25th dimension. We just did not want that information percolated within the matrix. And we're talking about the entire matrix and multiverse level, not just planet Earth. Because we like to think planet Earth is the worst of the worst, don't we? We think everybody else knows what's going on, and we're the only ones who are ignorant of reality. So there is that. There is also the fact that, again, we already explained before, that what you expect to see is what you will see. So therefore, they test these people expecting that they're good because that's what they're being told by the media. You know, we see a picture here and there of Mother Teresa. We see a photo op here and there about Mother Teresa or what she's doing. We hear the story. We're inspired. Of course, it's a very inspiring story. We wish it were true. It would have been wonderful. We wish we had millions of her, just like her, if that was the case. But really, you wouldn't even need millions. We already said it only takes one. If we really had wanted to stop world hunger or the type of situation that she supposedly on paper was dealing with, it would have not taken that long. It would have not taken that much work. It would have not taken even that much money, because it's not about money. It is about the intention. We said this a million times. The reason these things exist on the planet is because we want them to exist. And I know it's hard for many of us to accept that. Many of us believe, oh, I want world hunger to stop. If he wanted it to stop, it would have stopped a long time ago. But we digress here. We talked about this over and over. Bottom line is, yes, he expects, they expect, as certain people are. So we want to specify here. It's not that they, and they're referring to he, the author, and his team. It's not that they are of the dark and they're trying to publicize these people. He truly simply expects that someone like Mother Teresa or the Pope or whoever, we just spoke about him the last time, would be people of the light, and therefore they test them, and guess what? They test very high, just as simple as that. We said already, muscle testing is not foolproof. Muscle testing is just another methodology to confirm to yourself what you already believe. That's all. We always say the intention comes from the inside. Everything comes from the inside. There is no outside reality. And then we use a tool, a 3D tool, something we can look at to say, oh, look, yeah, this tool is telling me, so it must be true. It doesn't work that way. We decided something was true, and therefore we're seeing it confirmed in our quote unquote external reality. We know this is how everything works. And this is what, our beloved quantum science, and they were laughing here because they said in the very first session, said, you guys love the word quantum. So they always have a good time when they mention quantum anything. So I'm going to continue here. Sorry for the interruption. And this is what, our beloved quantum science has confirmed for us, is that we will see what we want to see, pretty much. We cannot isolate ourselves from the result of our observations because we affect reality just by observing it. The truth is, really, it's one step further than even that. It's not that we are observing reality. We're affecting nothing. They were laughing here. We set up the reality so that we can observe it and say to ourselves, oh, look, I affected it. We're laughing again. It is all very fascinating what we do here, at any rate. At least we're getting a little closer, and they were laughing. But yeah, basically he wants to believe Mother Teresa is good, and therefore it doesn't matter how many people, not only, but the people that he brings in, if anyone, let's put it this way, not that he filters testers based on what you and I will look for, would be feeling into. He probably tests them or filters them in terms of their scientific background, or the fact that they might be neutral, at a neutral level, which to him might be about 200. He has these very practical, pragmatic ways of testing people. And then he has these testers test things. And of course, if one of them had said, oh my gosh, Mother Teresa is really the opposite of what we're thinking, she's actually really dark, he would have probably thought, oh, there's something wrong with you, let's retest. And then it would be fixed because, again, there would have been the pressure and the expectation. Otherwise, this person would have probably been discarded, saying, well, you're not really clear and you're not really getting the results because look at us. All of us have gotten a different result. Everybody knows Mother Teresa is wonderful. Do you see? So you're recreating. These are biases. We all have biases. Scientists, particularly, they like to think that they have no bias. And therefore it's peer reviewed, it's peer proven and demonstrated, etc., etc. But there is no such thing. Really, what are you doing? You're just attracting a collective of individuals who have the same bias. That's all. That's all you're doing. They were laughing here. And so we can talk about the little itty bitty differences, as in, oh, maybe you could have done this a little better here or a little better there. But really, we're not changing the premise, and that's what's happening. So was he using the scientific method? I'm sure in his mind he absolutely is, and everything is proper. But the truth is, that's not quite reality. So these people, like, for example, you already know this, when you test, you create certain environments because you realize your consciousness will already affect everything. This is all it is. Everything we look at, everything we think is real and solid, like the walls in this room, it's my consciousness that's created this. But he wouldn't start from that premise. He's a scientist. He thinks of himself as a scientist. And therefore, he wouldn't think, oh, this room is not real. It's like a holographic reality. He would think, listen, we have a scientific method here, almost like you're talking about a stethoscope. And we are going to apply it. And this is going to be a neutral way of applying it. But it's not neutral. There is nothing neutral on this planet because there is nothing real. If this is not a basis for us to know not to judge, because really we're all like making up stuff all the time, I don't know what is. So I'm going to repeat this. His methodology is not neutral because there is nothing neutral on this planet because there is nothing real. Everything comes from our consciousness. And therefore, when he applies his own consciousness, he will see reflected back to him what he allows himself to know at a conscious level. Lorrayne, we receive exactly what we expect. Me, yes, yes, that's right. This is why it helps to do what you and Claire did in a muscle testing session, where it helps to have multiple people muscle test something together. However, different from what he had set up, which was different people testing something, but they were really all expecting the same thing. It really helps to be open and to muscle test things together, because like you and Claire did, you realized that you had some discrepancies and you were looking for the reason for that without judgment, without condemnation, without saying, oh, Lorrayne, you used the wrong whatever. Clearly, there's something wrong with you, and let's fix this. How could you get that Mother Teresa's not of the light? And they were laughing, right? And so it really does help, because like everything else, if we are interested in finding the truth, in seeking the truth, we must allow for the fact that we all do have our own filters. And I want to tell you something, guys. I do believe, I often think back to what has transpired in my life to bring me to this present moment where I'm connected with the 25th. And if I had to pick up on one, and it's never just one reason, obviously, we align our entire life, whatever we decide our purpose is going to be here. So it's not just one reason. At the same time, if I had to pick out one trait that I have, that I've always had, is that when I think something, I stop, I keep distance between myself and my own thought, and I said, I wonder if I want to think this because it's convenient to me, or it feels comfortable to me, or it's making me feel better about this. Am I flattering myself? What's actually going on? And always, always I've said, I wonder what the truth is. I wonder why I'm thinking this, what I'm really thinking this, and what is the actual truth behind what I want to believe. I've always done this. And I could see how that was alignment for me to go finally connect outside the matrix. So this has been part of the reason I think about these things, is because it's been part of my life review sessions, my life review training. We're all doing this in our own way, that I've been doing while sleeping, through dreams, but also consciously during the day. And this is definitely one of the things that has made a difference in the reason in why I've connected in a certain way, where I don't have to make myself feel like I'm better than anybody else, or again, no judgment. We've done this, we do this here as part of the game, okay? But this is the reason why we're now getting this information, because I think many of us are past this. Many of us have had enough of the judgment game, which has been necessary to maintain those realities. So it's not just happening because there's something wrong with us, but at the same time, we are ready to move forward, and now we're aligning with higher consciousness realities, and therefore, this is the work we're doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you, as always, for watching. Bye-bye.